Hello, dear folks. Welcome to Season 5 of our On the Pole series produced by the Stars Among Us. I am Ozzy, and I'm very happy that you've tuned in to this thank you tour of mine, as each episode is a thank you card to those who have impacted my life. On this 8th episode of Season 5, I'm shining light on Ralph Scott. Hello, Ralph Scott.
Hey. It's me.
Hi. It's been a long time, Ralph. So, folks, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Ralph so you know who I'm talking to. Ralph, I believe, went to West Virginia State, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Bachelor of Science, Theater, Film Communications, correct?
Yep.
And then he went to Howard University.
Certainly did.
Right. Also theater and film.
Yep.
Okay. And then he went to become the program director at BHERC. And BHERC, for you guys, is Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center in California.
In California,
Los Angeles. He went to school in Virginia and then went out to California. Unless there's a gap in between which you're filming in.
Well, no, you mean like my high schooling and all that?
No, after college.
Oh, after college. Yeah. Okay.
All right. And then after that time in California, you went to become a Media Art and Technology Instructor at ASA Academy for Social
Academy of Social Action.
Right. And that was in Brooklyn.
Well, I was living in Brooklyn, but the school was in Harlem.
Okay. So we're going to find out what made the move from California to Brooklyn or California to New York. I want to move on in terms of your background. So was it after that you began your social cinema project?
It was all during and probably a little before.
So you've become known as a filmmaker and media activist.
Yeah.
Right? Supporting, promoting, showcasing independent films for about 20 years.
Oh, more by now.
Yeah. And that from film festivals and showcases in LA with BHERC to Black Ski Film, that's an interesting one, Black Ski Film Festivals, to AIDS awareness showcases, to Best Shorts on BETJ, to Lens on Talent on BET, to creating film careers for young media artists in New York.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. Boom shakalaka.
And then Barbasol turned up.
Yeah.
Right?
All in the mix and in between, betwixt and between.
Twixt and between. With that, you premiered it at Urban World Film Festival in 2012, won Best Short, and then it has traveled the world to festivals and special screenings, including a night with the Alzheimer's organization honoring Black male caregivers.
Yep.
Right. But then you started hosting film exchanges at the first annual Smithsonian African American Film Festival in 2018, which focused in on young inner city filmmakers, as well as something called the Animated Portrait, which I would like you to explain.
So Lyndon Barra is an animator out of LA. He's worked on things like The Matrix and different major films in terms of computer animation. Mm-hmm. And what he does is he takes these gum wrappers, little tiny things as big as your fingernail, and animates them. He turns them into little characters. So he uses historical Black figures and turns them into, Muhammad Ali and some football players and Pele, the soccer player, and he animates them, brings them back to life. It was very, very interesting. So, Lyndon Barra, look him up, you'll see it.
Okay. And then Breeding Truth to Power.
Black Caucus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So based on what I do with social cinema, I just screened some films that touched on socially relevant topics during the Black Caucus. Well, the guest host was Congressman Johnson out of Georgia. We just wanted to bring awareness to certain topics, and using film was a way to do it.
That was basically the idea behind social cinema.
Yeah, it started with the AIDS awareness programs. So we're just using films for another purpose, not just for entertainment, to bring awareness to certain issues, mental health awareness, AIDS, father and son issues, just different things. Social justice, a lot of different topics that we use film to bring the awareness to.
In between all of that, you were also helping people. Were you teaching or instructing or assisting people with their filmmaking projects like that through Metropolitan College, etc.?
Oh, yeah. I was like a mentor to a lot of different young up-and-coming filmmakers. And they had different panels and different discussions at MCNY. Sure.
Because some of the testimonials that people have in terms of who you are would be fantastic filmmaker and communicator. That's what people have said about you. Excellent communicator, dynamic writer, and great person to be with. Yes. Able to relay complicated concepts into their most essential components and fun to work with.
Okay.
Personable.
Wow. I'm going to have to check out your research department.
Personable. Highly experienced in the movie industry in all facets. Delight to work with, an amazing media producer and esteemed colleague.
Well, what do you know about that?
What do you know about that? Isn't it nice to hear after all this time?
Yeah, it is nice to hear.
How and why did the idea begin? What prompted that social
cinema? Well, let's see. Let me go back to my days at BHERC in Los Angeles. We were showcasing some films. One or two of the films that we were showcasing were HIV and AIDS related. Now, we're talking maybe 90s, right? I can't tell you if it was early 90s or late 90s at this point, but maybe mid to late 90s, now that I'm thinking about it. And a friend of mine was at one of the screenings, and I already knew that he was an HIV/AIDS advocate. You know, he worked with major organizations and traveled around the country, bringing awareness to HIV and AIDS in the Black and Brown community. And so he was telling me how difficult it is, because when you're having a discussion about HIV and AIDS at that time, the people that show up are already advocates or they were of the gay community. And they were well versed in what was going on with HIV and AIDS, but we needed a different audience to come to this conversation. So I told him, I was like, well, you know, maybe these films are a way to bring awareness in a way where people aren't stigmatized into the discussion. They're coming to a film screening and then the discussion comes around what we're talking about. So I had to kind of brand it, and I knew that there were other topics that I might want to deal with. So social cinema was born. And so was Visual AIDS. Visual AIDS was a screening of AIDS-related films. We took it on tour to the CDC, many colleges and churches and schools and different organizations.
So what was the reason for you to come to New York?
I had a kid. We had a kid, and we had the nerve to have a kid in LA, and all of our family was back east. So when we came back east for a visit, when we came back to LA, we were like, something's got to give, because we can't do this once a year. You know, how are we going to get to know grandma and grandpa for the kids? So we were like, well, let's move. LA is a big film town, so is New York. So we were like, okay, well, let's move to New York. It sounds easy, but it wasn't that easy. But that's the
right.
The crux of it. You know what I mean? But then again, it was that easy. It really was. We made a decision. We jumped up. So, for example, when we came home, it was Christmas time. I came to New York to look for an apartment Easter weekend, and then we were there in May. So It really just happened that quick.
Wow. I have a question to ask, because you've done a number of interviews and whatnot throughout your career. What is the one question you've never been asked that wish you had been?
That I would like to have been asked?
Yes.
Maybe it's that one. Well, maybe if I were in that position in this moment, maybe what is the end game? You know, because I always talk about looking at things from the end. What is the end game? I don't want to think that making my film was the end game, you know, because for the longest time while I was supporting and promoting films and filmmakers, I, in the back of my mind, said, maybe I'll make a film. Maybe I'll make a film. No, I'm not going to make a film. But then when I finally made a film, I said, wow, look at that. I did what I was always afraid of doing, and it turned out pretty good, I must say. I don't want to say that's my end game. I think I need to know what my next thing is. I'm working in special education right now, and I feel that there's something I can do in special education to tie in with film. I don't know what that is yet. I'm just wrapping myself around the situation of being a special education teacher. So once I'm clear, we'll all know at the same time.
That kind of answered my next question was,
see?
This point in your life, is there anything else you'd like to achieve? So got the answer there. What is the one thing, place, or person or event that has changed your life perspective?
It has changed a few times, but let me see. What is something that might have changed? I think I almost had to do it on my own because I didn't know what to call myself, right? Mm-hmm. I was just doing things for the passion of doing it. Like when I was in Los Angeles with the film organization, just, helping out, putting together film festivals and enjoying that. Mm-hmm. But then I wasn't really making any money doing that. And so I had to brand myself. I had to say, well, I am now considering myself as a film promoter, right? Once I did that, then I said, oh, okay, well, if I'm a film promoter, I can, showcase films for other organizations and for not a profit, but like to make money.
Make money, to survive.
To survive. When I did that, that's when the Black Ski Film Festival came about. My sister used to go to, what Black Ski is there's a organization where Black people get together around the country, around the world, and there's a convention and they go and ski. So at any one time, you'll have thousands of Black folks on a mountain skiing. So there are times when there's nothing to do. You're either skiing or you're in the cabin or you're in the bar or whatever. And I said, wow, if there's a lull, what about film showcase? I bet they'd like that. Mm-hmm. And so that was born after that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
That was quite successul.
I would think so.
The Black Ski kind of died out. Yeah, after 9/11, people stopped traveling as much. So it affected that whole industry of the Black Ski clubs. Mm-hmm. They still exist. Now, my sister, she's into bike riding, but they never sit still. So I don't think a film showcase will work with them. They're always riding bikes all day long. And then when they're not, they're passed out on the couch.
What are you most proud of in your career?
I would say my film. I mean, I'm equally as proud. There was a time I remember Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther. I did an interview with him one day and he called me a hero. And this is years and years and years before he created heroes on screen. So I think of people like that. Gina Prince Bythewood, I was there at the beginning of her career, and Casey Lemons. I showcased a lot of work that gave them the confidence to move forward. I see on either Facebook or Instagram where people are posting that now they're shooting episodic TV shows and things like that. I'm like, oh, wow, I remember you. So, I'm proud of that. But having something to leave behind is very important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're only as immortal as what you leave behind. So I have a kid in the world, but
you have a daughter who's beautiful. She's no longer a kid. You have a young lady, a beautiful young woman.
Yeah, she'll be 19 soon.
Yes, daddy.
Yep.
What has inspired you these past 2 years? It's been a rough 2 years.
These last 2 years, as you mentioned, just coasting. Just kind of coast along because we never knew what the COVID thing was going to bring us or how it was going to turn out. So we just buckled down and did what you had to do. Like, we were in the house on Zoom like we are now for the better part of a year and a half, right? So I didn't really make any waves.
How did it affect you personally or professionally, negatively or positively?
Neither here nor there. You had mentioned earlier, people that you knew, maybe because you're in a bigger city, I don't know. But I don't really know that many people that the COVID affected one way or another. I mean, in the news, you might know somebody who was popular or famous that something might have happened. But in my personal life, aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, everybody was okay, God willing. Once you get past that, everything else is just gravy. So
the upside for you these past 2 years is, for the most part, family, friends were fine.
Everybody's good. So now you just move on, keep it moving. It's almost like you hit a pause button for a couple of years.
With that pause, did you pick up any new habits or new projects?
Funny you should say that. I've recently started, not recently, but maybe a few years, started taking objects. I took a door and turned it into a headboard.
Wait a minute. Did you just say D-O-O-R, door?
Yeah, a door, like an old door.
Uh-huh.
And I reconfigured it, turned it into a headboard. I took a headboard of a bed and I turned it into a bench. And now I'm redesigning my daughter's bathroom. So I've just been doing handyman stuff.
Enjoying it?
Oh yeah, I love it. Once you realize you need a tool, so you have to kind of wait till you can afford to get the certain tool. Like there's some tools I would really love to have, like a power nailer. I just got a skill saw, a circular chop saw, and that's been wonderful to have. I'd like to get maybe an electric painter, a power
electric
painter, what? A spray painter. You know.
Okay.
You know, stuff like that. That's the one thing I'll tell my students. I said, what is the one thing that separates us from the animals? And then, of course, they said, I don't know. And I don't care, Mr. Scott. I say the ability to use tools and weapons. You know, unfortunately, weapons comes with it, but a weapon is a tool. But tools, that's the one thing that separates us from the animals. So
I have another question to you, which is, do you have a fascination with clouds?
With clouds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I have, because, you know, one thing you didn't mention, I started off in photography.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
From high school, and that's what got me into filmmaking and all that. So as I look back at the pictures that I take, I think I have a fascination with trees. I take pictures of trees a lot. Because
in looking at your IG, I noticed that you look up a lot.
Oh,
you're looking up. I love clouds. I'm always looking at clouds and how big they are. Like I love westerns because a lot of westerns, the landscape, the scenery includes a lot of clouds. Different types of clouds, even condensed clouds. I'm always looking up. And I've noticed when I was looking through your stuff, it's like you're always looking up. Yes, I saw the tree and I saw a lot of scenery with pictures with clouds. So I was just asking.
Yeah, that's quite observant. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just in terms of photography, I mean, I'm not fascinated with trees. When I walk down the streets, like, ooh, a tree. But I mean, like where I live now, down here in Virginia, there's a lot of trees, and it does give me pause when I see them cutting them all down to build some housing apartments or something. Sorry to go off topic, but they just did a story in the news. In fact, I think it's North Virginia and North Carolina, where they're chopping down these fields and fields of trees to turn the wood into wood pellets, and then they ship them overseas to burn. You know, you put wood pellets in a wood stove.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're chopping down these acres and acres and acres of trees in the United States, grinding them up into little wood pellets just to be burnt. And they try and give an argument that it's green energy. Like, well, I don't know about that. And of course, that was on Earth Day. Earth Day was the other day, so that's why they did the story. By the way, for the people who don't know, Barbasol is a short film that I made. And that's the film that I spoke about. And Barbasol is a father and son story about a father trying to connect with his son, but he realizes that it's through his own father that he makes that connection. And so the byline is, as the twig is bent, so grows the tree. And so what that means in the story is that if you keep doing the same thing the same way, so the father, the grandfather, let's say, is very overbearing. And so hence the father is overbearing again towards his own son. And he realizes that he doesn't really need to be that way, that he can be loving and gentle and kind and just a father. You don't have to be so overbearing, because eventually that's what the son's going to do. And so as the twig is bent, so grows the tree.
Right.
So that's the byline of Barbasol. And you know, you've seen it.
Yeah, I have. A wonderful piece of work, and I am so happy that it seems to still live on.
It's been 10 years since we shot it. I think I started posting it on there's a Facebook page called Barbasol the Movie or Barbasol the Film. I'm not sure, I forget. You can see it there. I think I was talking to somebody last week about this very topic, and they looked it up. I said, well, if you look up Barbasol, you're going to get the shaving cream. So I said, maybe you look up Barbasol the Movie or Barbasol the Film. And they looked it up and they were like, oh, wow, there it is. And they were able to watch it. So if you do look up Barbasol the Film or Barbasol the Movie on, you know, Google or something, you can find it and see it.
And the topic is so important. My mother, she passed in 2016, but I was with her through the end, through this stroke and then dementia and everything else that comes.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
Yeah. But I wanted to have you on because you're an important part of my history, my life. You were always very present. You were always available when I would call. And when it came also to my project, my writing, you were there. You took the time. And that was so heartfelt. As a matter of fact, what happened was, everything had to go on hold. Family issues, mom, then my son.
I remember. Yeah. There's a lot that was going on, if I recall.
Yeah. And so now I'm picking that up again. And I just wanted to say thank you for being there.
Anytime.
And I miss you in New York.
I miss being in New York. Gee, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So, and New York is so different now, I'm sure.
I'm still in the heart of it, but I'm still loving it. It's where I am supposed to be, I think. Since 9/11, being in this particular area, different parts of the area, but it's the same area. And with all that has been going on, I still feel very safe in my community here. But let me say this to my audience. Thank you very much, my dear audience, for spending your valuable time with us today. Please care to share and remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny side of the street safely. Be health conscious, kind to one another, and don't forget to give thanks for the little and big gifts.
I was waiting for you to say lickle.
Ralph, I wish you were here. I'm happy to really get you on the phone, to hear your voice, to have this time with you, to log this time with you.
Yep, it's been a pleasure.
And to hear where you are now and possibly to see your next project, which is based on where you are and how you can bring that to whatever you may bring it to, because you've been somewhat of an idea man, out of the box thinker. So I'm looking forward to what your next project.
Yeah, me too. Who knows? Who knows what's next?
We put it out there.
Yeah.
And like you said, who knows? We put it out there.
In the universe.
Right? Taking it from your heart, from your head and your heart, and we put it out there.
Yeah.
So thank you very, very much for this time. And we will catch up. If not.
Oh, yes. We certainly will.
Thank you, Val.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
All righty. Now I'm going to go eat.
Enjoy.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey there. Please help us in our mission to support those facing fatal diseases through our t-shirt sales by donating or shopping at aussiestewart.com or supporting us at anchor.fm/AussieStewart. That's ANCHOR.FM/AussieStewart. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Aussie Stewart. Yep. Leave a comment.